hit some shots, played with a lot of energy at home, and but they are talented. Wilkes and Hands, and they're just a talented group of guys.
Looks like they have a lot of size.
Yeah, they are big. They are big. I thought we matched up with them pretty good. Right now we don't, but we're just going to have to really play hard. It's going to be really hard to stay with them on the boards. We got to be physical, and everybody's got to rebound.
You see them do that. I mean, they had some coach leaves, and you mentioned they come out with some energy in the next one. Is that almost what you tell your guys too? Hey, look, we're maybe in a position we didn't expect. Let's maybe play a little bit more free and go out there like you saw them do last week.
Yeah, I don't like our energy level.
Yeah.
Our energy level's not good. We started the game against Oregon State. We've had a number of games where just energy level's not good, and that's partly on me. I mean, guys got to come energized, ready to play, but coaching staff's got to have them ready. And I know it's obvious to our fans, it's obvious to our coaches. Our energy level's just not good enough.
With the size disadvantage, and you talked about playing more on the perimeter anyway, is this kind of shape up to a game that, without giving away the game plan, it's kind of obvious? Do you have to play more of a three-point game to create long?
Well, we're going to have to hit some shots. With Moses in there, he creates problems. He's big, and we're going to have to hit some shots. They've zoned a lot more, last couple games, and so, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's any secret. You take Bull and Kenny out of there, we're not as productive inside, and Francis is really playing hard. He's doing a lot of good things in the short minutes, but he struggled a little bit offensively, and he's put a lot of pressure on himself. And for a freshman who hasn't played that much, he can't put himself in that position. We're not putting him in that position. He's putting himself in that position, and he just needs to relax and defend, rebound, quit worrying so much about his offense. I told him, a young man, a freshman, you start putting that kind of pressure on yourself to go out and score buckets. It puts you in a real tough position.
Coach, Bull was having a great three-point shooting season. Without him, it seems like everybody's had trouble finding that same space. So as you try to recreate that, how do you go about finding more space, and what's your message on aggression from the three-point line right now?
Well, our guys got to share the ball better. I don't like our ball movement. I haven't, all season. We've got to do a better job there. When we've made good plays, you have a number of possessions where you can really see the ball movement's good, and we get a little better shot. And sometimes we don't make the shot, and our guys give up on it right away. And a good shot's a good shot, and I think if we continue to find those, our percentages will go up. It's when we take the tough ones, shots off the dribble, contested shots. Those numbers, traditionally aren't good, and they haven't been good this year. So we've got to do a better job moving the ball, finding better shots, and I think if we could get into that mindset, I think our percentages would go up. I think we've got better shooters than what we're showing. We've got to have better passers and better ball movement.
Any more impressions of the game Lou played the other day? And you mentioned the rebounding right after the game. Any more impressions after watching film?
Well, that was by far the biggest thing that stuck out. He went and got 10 rebounds, and on a night that we desperately needed someone to rebound. And so loved his effort there. I thought he took a couple shots that he could have made plays for guys, but I thought his aggressiveness offensively was good. And, so I thought he played a better game. His defensive feel for the game is really good. I think he got winded at times. He's still, after 9 months off, still kind of working himself into condition. But I thought he played better, and I thought the rebounding, definitely gave us an opportunity.
His and Peyton's numbers were significantly better in the second half compared to the first. Are they linked together? Are their successes? Can you pair them together if one guy's open and they're playing well, the other one is?
I think everybody's linked together. In the first half, Will made him a three. That was really a good shot. And the second three that he hit, Peyton made for him. They were two really good shots. I think everything's linked together. We've got to make plays for each other, and our assist numbers are not what they should be. two things that really, show our offensive effectiveness is when our assists are up and our turnovers are down. Second half against Boise, we didn't have a turnover until we didn't take a shot the last possession. And that's why we had a productive half. We scored 41 points. We didn't turn the ball over, and our assist total were up. So it's a big stat for us offensively, and that goes back to ball movement. It goes back to making simple plays. And this group of guys just we have to get that understanding. We have to move forward. We're halfway through our season. We just got to do a better job.
Kenny had mentioned about getting fitted for a face mask to try and get back sooner. Is that timetable of 4 to 6 weeks initially? Is that going to be on the shorter end of things?
I don't know. He did get fitted. We're waiting to see how that comes through, but he did get fitted the other day, and so hopefully it'll be here, and then it'll still be the doctor's decision. We're not going to go against what the doctors and the trainers say. So, but his family and he will have input. And as soon as he feels like he's able to do dry stuff. So he's
just
running.
Contact.
Yeah, he's running and shooting on his own. So that's the good thing about this injury is his conditioning won't suffer. It's not like a foot injury or knee injury where he can't do anything. So, when he is able to come back after 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever the time period is, he should be back ready to go.
Stylistically, even before Bull got hurt, before Vu, before Kenny, all of it, you guys were trending towards a little bit of a slower pace as far as just lower number of possessions. Out of necessity, you had to, with the press and everything in the second half, the possessions went up. But you talked about the numbers, Dana, especially while Kenny's out. Do you feel stylistically you can afford to, when 2 games in a weekend, play at 70 to 75 possessions a game, or is that just too much?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. We've got 8 guys right now. I think Will and Luke could give us a couple minutes here and there around TV timeouts if we had to. But we're playing 8 guys. 2 of them, Francis and Miles, who don't have much experience. So, it's just a dilemma we got to push through. We got to get Miles more minutes. We got to get Francis more minutes. We got to get them comfortable with through the next 2, 3, whatever weeks we're without Kenny. And then our guards have to play foul free. And I think it hurt us on the boards. The other day because Peyton didn't go to the boards. You got 2 fouls, and then he's worried about fouls, and Paul's in foul trouble, and so we don't have anybody going to the boards, and so we have to stay conscious of fouls, but yet there's a fine line there too. You got to still be aggressive. You still got to get to the boards. You still got to try to take charges. You still got to try to take some things, and not worry about the foul trouble. So again, it's a work in progress. We're trying to make adjustments on the fly. But, to sum it up, what I told the team is our energy levels got to get better. And, we got to try to make simple plays on the offensive end. And we've got a team rebound. We got a team defend. And those 3 facets of our game have to improve. And, it's simple, but that's what we've got to do day in, day out to try to get better as a team.
You mentioned recently that practices had kind of been thrown into a bit of flux with Boo leaving and Bull and Kenny being injured. It was tough getting 5-on-5s and really kind of filling out your normal practice schedule. Have things kind of settled in now where you guys within practice have a better kind of plan and idea?
Yeah, we don't have enough numbers. We need to get, I don't know if we're going to talking to some guys about trying to get maybe a couple more practice players just so we could work the 8 guys that are playing the minutes now, in different combinations. It's pretty hard to get everything in the time period we have and try to keep them fresh, because we got, 2 games coming up. And we got to have fresh legs for the games. And so to try to get the possessions we need, it's a little bit tough, because we just don't have enough bodies to go long enough to get some guys some rest. But to get Will on the floor with Paul and Miles, and different combinations that we'd like to use in games. We had a couple combinations out there the other day we never practiced together, and Paul gets foul trouble. We had Ehab out there at 4, and I just you hate as a coach to put your players in that position. you strike a fine balance there. If we're out here on the practice floor for more than 2.5 hours, and the thing is right now with our numbers, we can't rest anybody during practice. So you're out here for 2 hours, everybody's on the floor for all 2 hours. When you have 12, 13 guys, you always got 2 or 3 guys resting, and you keep everybody a little bit fresher. Can go a little longer, can have a few more possessions. And so, again, that's just part of it. We got to work through it, and we've got to do a better job with it, and I've got to do a better job.
Well,
So
to tack
I
on
was
to-
actually going to joke with Kelly if he was going to offer you as practice players. But you saying, is that actually legitimately a possibility, Dan? I mean, are you looking at their male practice players
Well,
from the women's team right now?
We've got to get
'Cause they're
somebody.
conditioned and they're here. I mean, I'm asking.
Well, the eligibility things.
Yeah.
So like if we open up tryouts again and you work through the eligibility problems, you could take 2 or 3 weeks, before you get anybody on the floor. We had tryouts early, and we had a couple guys we really wanted, but they didn't meet the NCAA standards, for time and, hours and all that. So, the easiest thing right now is to either get, athletes off other teams or guys that are cleared so that we can practice.
So much what you're talking about sounds like chemistry issues, moving the ball defensively, things like that. How much of that, at the root of it, is the fact that you're having to play groups that you hadn't practiced?
Well, it's part of it. No, it's part of it. I mean, it's no secret. Bowl is a big part of what we were doing. I mean, every combination we were running things through them. And you talk about the slower pace. Well, the slower pace was we wanted to give Bowl more touches. We wanted to get him the ball more. So anyway, it's it's just like I said. There are no excuses. It is what it is, and we've got to work through it. And I don't want our guys using excuses. As a coach, I don't want to use excuses. We got to make the best of it. We got to do a better job, and that falls on me. I haven't done my job. If I'm putting out a combination out there that I haven't worked in practice, then I didn't have the foresight to do it, then that's on me. And I feel bad for the guys because I put them in that position, and I know better than that. But again, I don't know how long we can stay out here and still keep them fresh enough to play. And I'm talking about energy levels. And, so again, like I said, I just got to do a better job.
I think for a lot of fans, the whole season, there's going to be this cloud of like what might have been hanging over it. You obviously can't afford to have that. Have you been able to keep your players from doing that?
Well, I try. Like I said, I told them I feel bad for Bowl, and right now I feel bad for Kenny. And that's it. I don't feel bad for you. We got to work through this. Nobody's going to feel sorry for us. So we've got to work through this. But I do feel bad for Bowl. I do feel bad for Kenny because I think they were enjoying playing. And those were the 2 guys that were giving us energy. Kenny's got a great attitude, and Bowl was having success. And when you're having success, you're always up, ready to go. So we just, again, have to have guys, and we got good guys. They're good guys. They're at a time where they haven't faced anything like this, and they're struggling with it.
Coach, so talking about energy level, I know the personnel's changed since last year. When you played UCLA here, the guy who gave you a lot of energy was Victor Bailey. Came off the bench 15 points in the first half. So you see that he can duplicate that. I know personnel's changed, but is he somebody that you can get a big lift in the first half? What did he do that game?
Well, he just hit some shots. VJ, what we're trying to get VJ to do is become more of a complete player. VJ's offense, I love his numbers right now. He's really focused on the offensive end. And I've talked to him about this. I want him to be a better defender. He's got to use his athleticism on the defensive end. He's got to use his athleticism on the boards. He got 2 rebounds in the first 4 minutes of the game the other day and didn't get another one. And the first one he got was an offensive rebound. He kicked it to Peyton for a 3, and he's just got to use that athleticism. I got a lot more faith in what VJ can do than he does. I think he's a better all-around player. He's got great confidence in his offensive skills, and he's lifted us, and you look at his offensive numbers, they're the best we have. But on the defensive end and on the boards, he is not using his athleticism to the full extent. And that's my goal, and I hope that's his goal, because I've talked to him about it. I think there's a lot more there. I think VJ got a lot more upside, and he's really working hard. He really wants to be a player. And, we're just asking him to do a lot of things, rather than be one-dimensional. We want him to focus in on all three aspects of the game and be a more complete player. And I know it's in there, and I know he will, because he is working at it. He's conscious on it. He watches film, and he wants to get better. And it's a process, you know. It's not like a light switch that you just say, okay, I'm going to be a good defender now, and I'm going to go to the boards. And it's habits, and then those habits take time to create. And but I do know he's focused much more on him now than he has been previously, and that's encouraging for us as a coaching staff, because with his athleticism and he's tough down deep, he's tough. That's why I know he can rebound, and I know he can defend, because he's got a degree of toughness there that we've got to use.
It seems like you worked early to get the ball to Francis against Oregon State. How important is to manufacture some sort of interior offensive threat?
Well, you know, I just don't want to put that kind of pressure on him. You know,
Just in general.
You know, I hope he can get some easy looks and get some looks, but I don't want to put pressure on him that he feels like he's got to score, you know, and so I want him to pick and choose his opportunities.
But in general for the team, how important it is to have somebody down low that can score?
We've got to get the basket. You know, we put that X there every day. We got to get the basketball there somehow, whether it's drive, whether it's a post up, you know, whether it's interior passing. You know, we got to get it there some way.